And now we have our celebrity champion for the Flying Troutmans, Alyssa Chenery, who is a board member with the Trent Oshawa Student Association. Please welcome Alyssa.
Celebrity, so no pressure. Oh, there we go. All right. Before I get started, I just want to warn you about this book. It involves mental illness, depression, suicide, loneliness, and is absolutely incredibly hilarious. Despite its dark subject matter, this book is endearing and vibrant. A Los Angeles Times reviewer said, "Taves can tickle the dickens out of you, and I can't think of a better way to describe it." Hattie has to leave her responsibility-free existence in Paris to take care of her niece and her nephew, while she brings their mother, Min, to the hospital for some long-needed psychological assessment. We find out over the course of the book that Hattie has always been very hesitant to help Min and hasn't been sure how to approach her, and now she feels even more helpless as she has to help her niece and her nephew deal with their own depression and their own school troubles. Hattie feels so unable to help them that she decides she has to go on to a road trip to find their father, Cherkis, who abandoned the kids when they were young. She only has Cherkis' old work address and a very, very vague idea of where he went, and the kids soon catch wind of their aunt's uncertainty. Over the course of the road trip, the kids and their aunt get into incredibly original scenarios. This book is anything but predictable and have you wondering the whole way through. However, you might also want to read this book for the kids. It's not very often that an author manages to have such realistic and original children who have very honest and realistic responses to the condition of their mother and their fears for the future. They're children that any adolescent, or one's adolescent, can relate to. Thebes, an 11-year-old, refuses to wash her bright purple hair and refuses to stop talking in a suburban gangster accent, no less. Despite her quirky nature, she has a deep love for everyone, which requires her to tell her very blunt but very innocent 11-year-old truth, including that Hattie, as a 28-year-old, probably only has about 2 more years left to get married, so she might want to start dressing up a little bit better. I know her contagious humor offers all readers a break from the toughness of life, and this is a narrative you should read for its healing power alone. Now the other boy, Logan, he's at the age where he doesn't really want to talk to adults, but converses regularly with gang members, and decides to engrave his thoughts into the car dashboard with a knife. Hattie has absolutely no idea how to talk to him, how to relate to him, how to get him talking, but she doesn't give up on him. In fact, no one in this book gives up on anybody. At its heart, it's a book about love and acceptance. Hattie learns over the course of it to care for other people, her sister, her niece and nephew, and in one incredibly hilarious scene, a random jogger on the street. This simple moral is laid out openly in Tave's book. It's very accessible, anybody can read it. A university student isn't going to feel overburdened by it, and those of us in the faculty who have, I'm sure, things to attend to aren't going to feel overburdened by its reading load either. Besides, I think we all need a dose of what Taves is espousing in her novel. With her unabashed set of characters, she's given us people to relate to, who accept themselves and who accept the people around them, not in spite of their quirks or tendencies, but because of their quirks. We could all have a reminder to love one another in much the same way. And the novel offers one final piece of advice. Min and Hattie's mother, at one point, tells them, "Yes, hon, everything in life is bullshit, and it's also incredibly funny."
Thank you, Alyssa. And so that is The Flying Troutmans by Miriam Taves, the first of our 4 nominated books. Next up, we have Water for Elephants by Sarah Gruen. And our reader, Kendra Marchand, who is the secretary of the Champlain College Student Cabinet.
Of a stampede of circus animals as described by the hero of Water for Elephants, Jacob Janowski. This is a rather graphic description, but filled with excitement and terror as Jacob watches the elephant Rosie gain her revenge on her cruel trainer. The concession stand in the center of the tent had been flattened, and in its place was a broiling mass of spots and stripes, of haunches, heels, tails, and claws, all roaring, screeching, bellowing, or whining. A polar bear towered above it all, slashing blindly with skillet-sized paws. It made contact with the limb and knocked it flat. Boom! The lamb hit the ground. Its neck and legs displayed like 5 points of a star. Chimps screamed and chattered, swinging on ropes to stay above the cats. A wild-eyed zebra zigzagged too close to a crouching lion, who swiped, missed, and darted away, his belly close to the ground. My eyes swept the tent, desperate to find Marlena. Instead, I saw a cat slide through the connection leading to the big top. It was a panther, and its lithe black body disappeared into the canvas tunnel as I braced myself. If the Rubes didn't know, they were about to find out. It took several seconds to come, but come it did. One prolonged shriek followed by another, and then the whole place exploded with thunderous sound of bodies trying to shove past other bodies and off the stands. The band screeched to a halt for a second time, and this time stayed silent. I shut my eyes. Please, God, let them leave by the back end. Please, God, don't let them try to come through here. I opened my eyes again and scanned the menagerie, frantic to find her. How hard can it be to find a girl in an elephant, for Christ's sake? When I caught sight of her pink sequins, I nearly cried out in relief. Maybe I did. I don't remember. She was on the opposite side, standing against the sidewall, calm as a summer day. Her sequins flashed like liquid diamonds, a shimmering beacon between the multicolored hives. She saw me too, and held my gaze for what seemed like forever. She was cool, languid, smiling even. I started pushing my way toward her, but something about her expression stopped me cold. That son of a bitch was standing with his back to her, red faced and bellowing, flapping his arms and swinging his silver-tipped cane. His high-topped silk hat lay on the strap beside him. She reached for something, a giraffe passed between us, its long neck bobbing gracefully even in pain, and when it was gone, I saw that she'd picked up an iron stake. She held it loosely, resting its end on the hard dirt. She looked at me again, bemused. Then her gaze shifted to the back of his bare head. Oh, Jesus, I said, suddenly understanding. I stumbled forward, screaming, even though there was no hope of my voice reaching her. Don't do it. Don't do it. She lifted the stake high in the air and brought it down, splitting his head like a watermelon. His pate opened, his eyes grew wide, and his mouth froze into an O. He fell to his knees, then toppled forward into the straw. I was too stunned to move, even as a young ring flung its elastic arms around my leg. So long ago, so long, but still, it haunts me.
Thank you, Kendra. And next up is our celebrity champion for Water for Elephants, Shelby Milliken, the president of the Trent Central Student Association.